Squad team, and today we're going to explain the topic that we choose, which is inflation.
Hi, my name is Karina.
Hi, my name is Norzilah binti Abdul Majid. My metric number is 297561.
And hi, my name is Liza.
Hi, my name is Ho Chengi.
Hi, my name is Muhammad Azrin bin Azmi.
Okay, now I'm going to explain about inflation. What is inflation? Inflation is a concept that affects economies, businesses, and also individuals worldwide. Inflation means general increase in price of goods and services over time, leading to a decrease in purchasing power of money. So what's an increase in price? Increase in prices means the level of prices for goods and services in an economy rises persistently over a period of time. It means in 2010 you can buy 10 items for 50 ringgit, and now we can only buy 5 items for 50 ringgit. And next, I'm going to explain about decrease in purchasing power. Decrease in purchasing power means as prices increase, each unit of currency, you can buy fewer goods and services. This means inflation can influence consumer behavior as people may prioritize spending on essential goods and cut back on discretionary purchases.
I would like to talk about the 3 common types of inflation. There are 3 types of inflation in economics: demand pull inflation, cost push inflation, and import inflation. The first one is demand pull inflation, which occurs when the demand for goods and services in an economy outstrips supplies, leading to a higher price. These types of inflation often happens in a growing economy where consumer confidence is higher and people are spending more money. For example, during a period of economic expansion, people might have more disposable income and be more willing to make large purchases such as cars and houses. If the supply of these goods does not increase at the same rate as demand, the prices will increase. Additionally, government policies such as tax cuts or increased public spending can also boost demand, further contributing to demand pull inflation. Next is cost push inflation. Happens when the cost of production for goods and services increases, which leads to a higher price. This increased cost can result for several factors, which are rising wages, higher prices for raw materials, or disruptions in the supply chain. For example, if the price of oil increases significantly, it raises the cost of transportation and production for many goods. Companies may then pass these increased costs on consumer in the form of higher prices, which lead to inflation. A classic example is the oil crisis of 1970s, where a sudden increase in oil prices lead to widespread cost push inflation across many sectors of the economy. Lastly, import inflation, or also known as imported inflation, occurs when the cost of import goods and services rises, causing domestic inflation. This type of inflation can be particularly impact for countries that rely heavily on imports for important goods such as food, energy, and raw material. For instance, if a country imports a significant portion of its food supply, and the global prices for food increase due to poor health or trade restriction, the cost of living in that country will arise. Another example is when a country's currency depreciate, which makes the import more expensive. This increase in import prices can then lead to higher overall price levels within the economy. The 2022 surge in global energy prices, partly due to geopolitical tensions, is a recent example of import inflation affecting many economies worldwide. That's all from me. Thank you.
Hi and Assalamualaikum. My name is Muhammad Azrin Azmi and my metric number is 300401. And today I want to talk about the factors of inflation in Malaysia. So there are 4 factors of inflation in Malaysia, which is number 1 is excessive demand. When consumer demand for goods and services increase, production tends to increase product prices to meet demands of high demand. Excessive demand, often referred to as demand pull inflation. So demand pull inflation happens when the aggregate demand in the economy outpaces aggregate supply. Prices tend to rise in Malaysia. If consumer spending, investment and government expenditure increase significantly, it can lead to demand pull inflation. This often occurs during periods of economic growth when employment and incomes are rising. So, factors number 2 is production and input cost. Production and input costs can contribute to inflation in Malaysia through a mechanism known as cost push inflation. This type of inflation occurs when the cost of production increase, leading producers to raise prices to maintain profit margins. For example, increase in the price of raw materials, labor and other factors that can lead to increase in the final price of the product. Number 3 is external factors. External factors such as changes in global economy and world oil prices can also affect inflation in Malaysia. Changes in commodity prices and international economic conditions can affect the rate of inflation in the country. For example, oil prices. As Malaysia is a net importer of oil, fluctuations in global oil prices can have a direct impact on the cost of transportation, manufacturing, and overall production costs. Higher oil prices lead to increased costs for businesses, which are often passed on to consumers. And the last factor is economic growth rate. A high rate of economic growth can contribute to inflation. If economic growth happens suddenly and is not balanced with the increase in the supplies of goods, it can lead to shortage and price increase when the economy and price increase. Also, when the economy grows rapidly, various factors such as increased consumer demand, labor market pressure and government spending can lead to upward pressure on prices, resulting in inflation in Malaysia. So that's all from me.
Assalamualaikum and hi everyone. My name is Norzilah binti Abdul Majid. My metric is 297561. I will explain about the effect of inflation. People's desire are inconsistent. When they act as buyers, they want prices of goods and services to remain stable, but as seller, they expect the price of good and service should go up. Such a happy outcome may arise for some individual, but when this happens, others will be getting the worst of both worlds. When price level goes up, there is both a gainer and a loser. To evaluate the consequence of inflation, one must identify the nature of inflation, which may be anticipated and unanticipated. If inflation is anticipated, people can adjust with the new situation and cost of inflation to the society will be smaller. In reality, people cannot predict accurately future events, or people often make mistakes in predicting the cost of inflation. In other words, inflation may be unanticipated when people fail to adjust completely. This can create a various problem. One can study the effect of unanticipated inflation under 2 broad headings. First is effect on distribution of income and wealth. Second is effect on economic growth. First, I will explain about the effect on distribution of income and wealth. During inflation, usually people experience rise in incomes, but some people gain during inflation at the expense of others. Some individuals gain because their money incomes rise more rapidly than the price, and some lost because price rise more rapidly than their incomes during inflation. Thus, it redistributes income and wealth. There are 5 following categories of people are affected by inflation differently. First is creditors and debtors. Second is bond debenture holders. Third is investor. Fourth is salaried people and wage earners. And lastly is profit earners, speculators and black marketers. Lastly is effect on production and economic growth. Inflation's impact on output can vary. Below full employment, inflation can boost production and investment, leading to higher national output, but this effect is temporary if wages and costs rise rapidly. Cost-push inflation can reduce output, and inflation often creates uncertainty, discouraging long-term investment and hindering economic growth. Mild inflation can encourage growth, but high inflation decreases savings, reduce capital formation, and leads to unproductive investment and speculative activities. Hyperinflation exacerbates this issue, leading to artificial scarcities, declining export earning, capital flight, and reduced tax revenue, ultimately harming economic stability and growth.
A very good morning to Major Norzilah and all my Feroz friends. My name is Ho Cheng Yi, matrix number 298772. So, I will be discussing the Asian financial crisis of 1997 to 1998, its impact on Malaysia inflation rate, and the broader issue and impact it had on the country economy. We will also look into the cause of the crisis and the responses taken to address it. So, the Asian financial crisis began in July 1997 in Thailand with the collapse of the Thai baht. This triggered a wave of financial instability across East and Southeast Asia. The crisis spread rapidly, affecting countries like Indonesia, South Korea, and Malaysia, leading to several economic disruptions. In Malaysia, the crisis led to a sharp depreciation of the ringgit, which fell significantly against the US dollar. This depreciation increased the cost of import, leading to higher inflation. So, inflation rate surged from around 2 to 3% and pre-crisis to about 5 to 6% in 1998. The increased price of goods and services added to the economic strain faced by the population. The Asian financial crisis had multiple effects on Malaysia, which are banking sector stress, currency devaluation, and unemployment and social impact. For banking sector stress, the banking sector faced several stress with rising non-performing loans and liquidity shortage. For currency devaluation, the ringgit lost about 50% of its value, increasing the burden of foreign denominated debt. And for unemployment and social impact, higher unemployment rate lead to increased poverty and social unrest. Malaysia's stock market also saw significant decline, which affecting both local and foreign. So there are several factors that contribute to the crisis, which are fixed exchange rate and speculative attacks. For fixed exchange rate, many countries, including Malaysia, maintain fixed exchange rate to create vulnerabilities. And for speculative attacks, this is due to loss of investor confidence lead to speculative attack on currency, starting with the Thai baht. Next, the Malaysian government took several measures to address the crisis, which are capital control, economic policy, and the financial sector reforms. For capital control, government imposed restrictions on capital outflow and fixed the ringgit at 3.8 ringgit to the US dollar. For economic policy, government implement various policies including interest rate hikes and fiscal austerity. And for financial sector reform, government restructure banks and address non-performing loans and improve regulatory framework. This measure will controversial but ultimately help stabilize the economy and restore growth. In conclusion, the Asian financial crisis has a profound impact on Malaysia, leading to significant economic challenge but also driving important reform. The government response, particularly the use of capital control, play a crucial role in stabilizing the economy and setting the stage for recovery. Thank you for your attention.
Now I'm going to give an explanation about conclusions of inflation. So inflation has been recognized as harmful phenomenon because it gives bad effect to individuals, businesses, and also world. So why inflation is harmful phenomenon? Because of the situations where high or unpredictable Inflation rates will make it challenging for businesses and individuals to plan for the future. Businesses may struggle with forecasting costs and pricing goods and services appropriately. So, besides that, high inflation also can make a country's goods and services more expensive relative to those of other countries. This can harm exports and worsen trade balances and also affecting the competitiveness of domestic industry in the global market. These inflations directly influence the cost of living by increasing the price of essential goods and services. As you can see, the case that happens in 1997 where ASEAN financial crisis did big impact towards Asian countries such as Malaysia, Thailand and also Indonesia.